Welcome back to the Malvern College podcast, where we bring together the community to explore more about life inside and outside the school from the point of view of pupils, staff and parents. Each week we'll be talking to one of the members of the community to find out more, to hear their stories and to get a little deeper into the fabric of life around the school. In this episode we're talking to Millie Wall, who's back to talk to us having left Malvern College in 2014. In this episode she'll be talking about her life in the school and what she's been doing since she left. Some pretty exciting things too, I might add. So come with me as we step into this conversation.
Welcome to the Malvern College podcast. We're joined today by old Malvernian Millie Jean Wall, who left the college in 2014. She's now a freelance illustrator and designer. Millie, hello.
Hello, Tracy.
It seems like you've already had a very exciting career pathway, but let's talk a little bit more about that later. First of all, can I ask you, when did you join Malvern College and what was it about the school that convinced you and your parents that it was the right school for you?
I joined Malvern in 2009 and I'm actually local, so I'd heard of the college, and it was when I was about 8 or 9. I remember going to one of the college plays where we were invited, and I just remember arriving at the school thinking, oh wow, I would love to go here. And yeah, it was kind of from that moment that I thought I would love to go to this school.
So is it that you sit down with your parents and that you all agree? Did you look at other schools? How do you come to the sort of final decision?
It was kind of always there, and I remember conversations saying, you know, you're going to have to get a few scholarships if you want to go to this school. And it was really at the top of the list from my prep school. But being local, I think I'd heard so much about it and wanted to go there. Just a few people that I'd known who had gone through Malvern as well, kind of those real role model people. There was this gorgeous girl called Anna Wagner who was in Les Miserables, the play we went to see. And I just kept hearing about her around, and you know, she was this amazing Malvernian. I thought, gosh, if I could go to the same school as her, I might turn out quite good. That would be nice.
And when you actually enter the grounds, I mean, is it completely awe-inspiring for the first time?
It really is. I mean, it's just stunning where it is. It kind of nestled in the hills, and it does feel like you're going back in time, and you just drive up that big drive and the chapel on your left. You know, it really does give you that inspired feel. And I'm a lover of the hills anyway. I'm kind of local to the area, but there's something about the setting of this school is just quite special.
And what advice would you give a pupil and their family if they are considering an independent school education, and Malvern College in particular?
There's really nothing like it. I mean, what Malvern offer, I think, is so unique. And first of its quality of the education you get, but the setting of it and the unique people it pulls from all over the world that end up in this beautiful little bubble of Malvernians. I mean, it's something quite unique, and I just remember my parents saying, you know, there's nothing they'd rather spend their money on. It's really shaped who I am.
Now, after your GCSEs, you went on into the sixth form and you took 4 A-levels. I believe it was English, History, Art and Design and Technology. Is that right?
Yep, that's them.
So what's the sixth form like at Malvern College? And in a sense, how did the school prepare you for what was going to lay ahead?
So I've been looking forward to the sixth form since I kind of got there. Firstly, because you can wear your own suit, which was a real game changer for me. And it was just that moment of like, wow, I'm really arriving now. I'm in the sixth form, and there had been lots of discussions about IB and A-level. I think Malvern's quite unique. Well, it was then in offering the IB, and you're given so many more options as to what you can study. And the school were great in guiding you to what you actually want to choose for the sixth form. And I remember feeling a bit torn for a while. You know, it would be great to carry on all those subjects, and I loved the IB teachers. I mean, they're all brilliant, but IB was quite cool. And then my tutor was brilliant. Just said, you know what you're good at, and I don't think the maths and science side is going to be a total breeze for you. So maybe you should just pick the things you're better at. And that decision just came really organically, and I wasn't stressed about it, and it arrived, and it was just the perfect decision. So yeah, that was my lovely sixth form experience.
And we're going to hear a bit more about your career a little later on, but do you think that the college recognised your potential very early on?
That's the amazing thing about the college. I mean, I think it just brings out the best in everyone. And you might go into Malvern, you're a bit of an awkward FY in the first year and you're not quite sure what your thing is. And, you've been encouraged from prep school, but then you get to the college and they just bring it out of you. It's a combination of the amazing tutors, and there'll be a few that, really champion you and cheer you on, and you end up being put in situations you never thought you'd be good at, and things like the CCF. I mean, I thank that so often in my career now that was there, and that brought out something in me as well. So it does have that amazing ability.
You obviously have an adventurous spirit.
Well, it came out then, didn't it? I wasn't sure it was my thing, but I love it.
So which bit of the CCF were you in?
I was in the army. I'm not going to lie, I did want to start going to the CCF because I wanted the uniform. I was so proud of my uniform. And that's actually a huge part of being the CCF. It's turning up on time and doing that drill. And the lovely Mr. Nichols, who's still there, he just had a way with us. I mean, I was crawling through the mud on the common and carrying a gun. I can clean a gun, take it apart, put them back together. There's a life skill you didn't thought you needed.
Yes, armed and dangerous. That sounds worrying. So actually, just talking about teachers, many of us look back with much fondness to a few teachers. Or any you particularly recall?
It was my tutors, Mrs. Ness Young. She actually taught me back at prep school, and she was there as a textiles teacher for a while, and her career's just going so well. She ended up being a house mistress at the college and still a textiles teacher. So she was always kind of the guiding light in that area of school, and it was my favourite subject. And when I got to Malvern, she was just such a lovely familiar face, and was there the whole way along my Malvern career, from the school plays, and then my happy place was going to the tech department with her, and we had very small classes, so they were really happy times. And then she became my tutor in sixth form, and we used to have tutoring every Tuesday afternoon, and I would bring the cake and we'd have lots of tea and, plan my career. It was great. And I just look back on that with such fondness. She really saw something in me and just nursed it and got me through the wobbles, and then it's still actually a huge part of my life, and I still talk to her about my career moves and things like that. So she was extremely special to my time at Malvern.
Because that always interests me, actually, that you start at a college at a particular age, and obviously you go through the biggest development period of your life when you're at college. How did Malvern College help you with that?
Yeah, it's not an easy time growing up at that age. You lots of insecurities, and FY was quite hard. I think we were all finding our space, and I was in House 3, who had the most amazing house mistress, Mrs. Packham, who's still there, and she just really brought us together. I think it's having that family feel in the house that turned what was quite a tricky time growing up into, we're all here for you and we're all sisters. And my year, there was, I think, 7 or 8 of us. You just become that support bubble, and any problems you have in the greater school, you come into house, you sit down, have your toast and tea, and you talk about it and you work it out. And there's always someone there to talk to, someone older, or the house matrons. I remember sitting with dear Miss Smith and chatting things through. They're there for every aspect of life. Sometimes, the issues with the boys can feel just as bad as choosing your A-levels, and they're just there for you. They make it so much easier.
I guess the interesting thing about it too is that although they're sort of in loco parentis, they're not your parents, and they have an independence perhaps that they can bring to things when there's not so much baggage when you're actually talking to them as opposed to your parents.
Exactly, yeah, and you just have so much respect for them as well. It's that very fine line they do so well. And I was a day pupil as well, so I went home quite a lot and then did end up boarding more in the sixth form. But Mrs. Packham just had something I respected so much in her, and you'd really want her approval and you want her opinion, and coming into her private side, if you really needed a good chat, she would come over to the private side and we just, nestle in that big comfy sofa, and she just seemed to have the answers and helped so many of the girls in my house have all, become the best versions of themselves thanks to her.
So do you stay in touch with any of your fellow pupils?
Yes, yeah, all the girls in the house are still a really close network. We meet up in London when we can. It seems most of us have ended up there. And we had a school reunion a few years ago, which was really funny. It was 2 years ago. And just, walking back into house, absolutely normal. Hi, Miss Smith. Just go sit in your normal spot. I think we'll always have that. It's just that huge thing that you have in common, no matter where you are in your life. I mean, so we've all gone really different paths, but you can always chat about your time at Malvern, and anyone that is an old Malvernian, you can just instantly connect. I think it's such an amazing network to have that.
So we've talked about the facilities. It is in the most beautiful place. Is there anywhere particular that's very special to you at Malvern College?
I think walking along the senior in the spring and summer is a very special place, and I love that feeling when you're just stepping out of break time, going to the next lesson, and everyone's walking with purpose, and it's just this, you see someone across the triangle, and you have a little wave, and you just feel like you belong. I don't know if I was just a bit delusional there, but definitely when I was in my own suits, walking across there, I had a strong Russell and Bromley heel, and I just thought, wow, this is amazing. And I think as you get older, you look back and you think it was more amazing, but I know I appreciated it then. And walking up to chapel as well, I love that building. We used to go to chapel at 8:10 in the morning. Everyone would go there, I think it was 4 times a week then. And I've really enjoyed that time. It's just such a beautiful building. And you go to your place in the chapel where your house is, and you just feel really proud when you sit with your house and see your friends on the other side of the room. I mean, the layout of that chapel is so special. And yeah, I love going back there and just having a little moment.
I'm imagining in my mind's eye you striding out there. So it's obvious to me that something else that Malvern College gives is confidence.
That is for sure. Yeah, it gives you a really safe space to explore all the versions of yourself that you want to be. You're growing up, but you're also working out what you want to be and who you want to be as a person. I think we all try a few different things there, but it really just brings out things in you, and I'm so grateful that they saw all those little versions of yourself and piece them together, and then you just come out the other end ready to hit the road running.
And we talked a little earlier, I sort of previewed that you'd had a bit of an exciting career pathway already. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it had always been my dream at school. I think, yeah, I chose the things I did at college because I wanted to end up in fashion, and it was always kind of that London dream of fashion weeks, and every opportunity I could, I wanted to be in London working at those fashion shows or just being involved in some way. And all my teachers were so supportive. Like on weekends, if I had to go and, it's fashion week, please can I go and dress backstage? And sure, miss hockey practice. Off you go to London. But that was always there, and I was really encouraged to pursue that. I mean, work experience is so important, and it really was then. I just wanted to get a foot in the door, and the college understood that, and they just let me go and do my thing.
So where did it take you all then? Start at leaving school. Where have you been? What career path have you been on?
So I left school in 2014, and at that point I'd already done an internship at Mulberry one summer in London. So I'd written to the design department.
That's pretty exciting.
I know, I was 15. Yeah, I just had a bit of a dream. I wanted to be there. So I wrote to someone at Mulberry, and I was 15, and I said, I really want to work in fashion. And I think it took a few letters, and my dad was really good. He just said, keep writing, it'll end up on the right desk. And I was telling my tutors, yeah, I'm doing this. And eventually someone did say, yes, sure, you can come and do a summer internship. So I went there for a few months, and that was it. I just thought, this is what I want to do. So I came back, that was GCSE summer, chose my A-levels, completely shaped towards that, and carried on doing these internships in the holidays when I could. I remember my friends went off and did a big girls' holiday, and I'd already booked this amazing internship with Stuart Parvin, who's the couturier to the Queen.
Wow.
And I was
I'm impressed.
It was so exciting. It was just an absolute dream come true. But, it's hard work, and you're interning, but you're really trying to impress them. And I was so in awe of him. And I worked a bit in the shop there, and he taught me all about sketching and his beautiful flair. I mean, my sketching now is still based completely on what he taught me then, and that shaped it a bit more, and he was much more bespoke and about the client side, and he taught me so much of that. And then I ended up going to Hereford College of Arts straight after Malvern to do a bit of an art foundation, and I was really encouraged by that from my amazing art teachers, Mr. Newsholme at college. He just said, have a bit of time to breathe and just really get to know yourself as an artist and a creative. London's always going to be there, and it was such good advice. It was not telling you what to do, it was just gently pushing you in the right direction, that he knew me so well that was the right thing, and I wasn't sure, and it ended up being the best thing ever for me. That was, a really good choice.
So actually, I just had this vision, actually, of you in your CCF army uniform and you working with the Royal Couture. It's just a lovely vision, really. I assume you didn't choose to put your uniform on at any time.
No, but I did keep a little ribbon in my hair at CCF. I had a lovely pink satin ribbon, and that used to come with me to CCF. So, the alter ego wasn't completely destroyed.
So bring us up to date. What did you do post your art college?
Post art college, I went into London and I got a job with Amelia Wickstead, who was a really kind of budding designer at that time. She's quite a force to be reckoned with in the London fashion scene. And I was doing an internship for her when I first met her, and she said, there's a bit of a job opening. Would you like to stop your degree and carry on working for me? I thought, oh my goodness, this is it. This is my dream job. That's what I'm going to do. So I ended up finishing my fashion degree after 1 year and started working for her as bespoke and bridal coordinator was my title then. And I was just doing all the sketches for her. It was super fast paced straight away. And I remember talking to my tutor, Mrs. Young, a lot, being like, oh my goodness, this is really happening. I'm in the real fashion world now, and it was straight in the deep end. And yeah, I mean, it was my dream job, and I was just ready to go. I'd been prepared, and CCF training. I was just on a mission.
Taking your gun and going for it.
Fashion Week is literally like a CCF camp. I mean, you don't sleep. You just sleep on the floor, and you just crack on. That's what it was.
It all sounds so glamorous, doesn't it, on the outside?
Exactly. There are some tiny glamorous moments, but the rest of it is just grit and hard work, and just to have that ability to juggle so many things. And I always think of my Malvern College jotter. You get given a diary at the beginning of every term, and I just loved this diary. I mean, I kept it so neat. I laminated it. I had stickers on it. It was really important to me, and I'd keep my schedule super, super tight, and you just know exactly where you had to be. So if choir's at 6:15 and then you've got to be at photos for school sport, then you work out what time you need to leave to get there to be on time. And I know it's all those things that have made it possible to operate in Fashion Week so young in my career. I just knew how to keep lots of balls in the air. I think that served me really well. So always keep a jotter. Number one advice from Malvern.
It sounds also like you're still able to refer back to people who are there, who give you confidence, who sort of build on that foundation that you were given in your time there.
Completely. Yeah, you kind of hear their voices sometimes, and someone in the history department, grow up, you just hear their voices, and they're such key parts of me growing up, and I really hear their voices still.
Well, you sound like persistence, resilience, all of those things have done you well. If you were talking to one of the young people who are currently at Malvern College, what would you say to them now?
I would say yes to everything. Take on as many things as you can possibly do, and you just fill your diary until you can't fit anything else in it, because all the opportunity is there for you, and it's all the absolute best you can imagine. I mean, go and do that cross-country run with Mr. Major, and just say yes, because those opportunities and those things that you choose to take on now, you just don't know how they're going to shape you when you're older. So that's what I would say. The only regret you would have is not doing everything, which I think is a really amazing feeling. Malvern's got it all there for you. You just have to soak it up. and enjoy it. I mean, it'll be over before you can blink, and you'll think, gosh, wasn't that amazing?
And what next for you?
Well, I'm really enjoying just being a freelance illustrator at the moment, and it's growing really well and organically and just word of mouth. And yeah, I'm still on the edge of the fashion industry, but I'm just loving where this is going creatively, and I think Miss Newsham would be very proud of me just exploring that creative side a bit more. And if ever there was a time to do it, it's definitely now. So I'm very happy doing that.
I'm delighted to hear it. Well, Millie Jean Wall, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been fascinating insight into your life and into your time at Malvern College.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So that was Millie Wall. A big thank you to her for coming onto this episode of the podcast. Now, if you'd like to get to know the college even deeper, then don't forget to check out Malvern College on social. Whether it's Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, just search Malvern College. And to stay up to date with the next episode that's coming out soon, be sure to follow this podcast channel, and then when the next episode is released, you'll get a small notification just to ensure you don't miss it. But until then, thank you for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.